Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So as you know, it's getting hot out, right? We live in a van on the road, right? That shit gets hot, right? Alright. Now, I want to talk about some ways to try and stay cool on the road. Now, obviously, if you're fortunate enough to have a generator, a rooftop AC, the van is insulated, you're going to be just fine. You don't give a shit about this video. You're like all nice and crispy, sitting in your nice AC'd up van, and you could care less. So then there's the rest of them, okay? And I've been through all this. I started at the bottom, didn't have shit, and now I'm at the point that I have a generator, rooftop AC, air conditioning, fans, curtains, everything I need, okay? I'm good. So, and with that being said, doesn't mean that I don't feel for the people that are having to rough it out. But at the same time, I roughed it out because I wanted this. I loved it, and so I made it happen. Some of these things are going to be things that you're like, oh man, well that wasn't really helpful. But I'm going to tell you from experience that if you do some of these things, because I'd be willing to bet most of you don't, if you do some of these things, you're going to get cooled off a little bit. It's going to be tolerable then. First thing is, these vans, they're just bare metal. So whether you're in the extreme hot, or the extreme heat, or you're in the extreme cold, that temperature, that outside temperature, radiates off of that metal. So in the summertime, it is like an oven back there. Now, if you don't have anything, like all you have is the battery that starts the van, so the problem with that, and the reason I bring that up is because like in these Ford Transits, the power turns off in like 20 minutes. So you'll need to find some way to have some auxiliary power. If you don't have nothing, which I can completely understand if you don't. When I first started this industry, I worked in a bare metal cargo van, didn't have no auxiliary power, didn't have shit. And I was so broke that I didn't spend money on a freaking $20 some odd 12 volt fan. And to be honest, for the very beginning of all that, I didn't even have no clue. Like, again, the Facebook groups weren't what they was. YouTube wasn't what it is. I wasn't on social media and all those things. The only thing I went to was Expediters online. Okay, other than that, besides running into drivers. So I wasn't even sure about the fans, to be honest, at first. Then once I found out, I'm just like, man, I mean, $25 was a lot of money to me at that point. That's how broke I was. I don't think some of you realize, it's not like I'm rich at this point or anything close to that. But I'm definitely at the point now that I can go buy a $25 fan and it ain't going to hurt me. Back then, dude, that would have jacked up my entire budget. Like, I was scraping by. And so, I don't want to get too far off into that, but so I didn't have a fan. I didn't have shit. Okay, and what I did is, one of the key things back there is getting air circulation. That's one of the reasons it gets hot too. So as I said, the insulation is the first thing. If you can control that with just simply some Reflectix, or even getting some moving blankets, getting something on there to kind of insulate yourself from all that radiant heat that's coming off of the metal. That's the first thing. The windows, the front window. You want to put some Reflectix or some kind of screen on the front window to where that sun's not shining in there. Park in the direction that the windshield isn't the biggest thing bringing in that heat. Because that just sitting there and the sun coming down in there lights it up in here. It lights it up. So that's another thing to be mindful of, is what direction you're parking, where the sun is. Again, having the windshield screen and whatnot. So the air circulation in the back. Windows down in the front. Like, I have my bunk right behind the seats. Like, just the windows down. Like, today it's a nice breezy day. Like, I would occasionally get that breeze on me, and it's just like, oh my God, that felt so good. You know, it's almost like an orgasm. You know, it's like, oh my God, that felt good. But then it disappears. And you can feel that stagnant heat on the other side of you. So, it's not very comfortable. So, you need to get air circulation. So what I would do is pop open the back door, take like a like a gallon of windshield washer fluid or a gallon of oil, whatever it may be, something large enough to prop the door open, and then I would strap it from the inside and attach it to something so that somebody couldn't just, grab it and pull it open. And that is going to give you some good air circulation. Now, all that air circulation and everything is going to be more beneficial if you find shade. Shade sometimes isn't that easy to find, and I get it, but it is out there. Now, one of the best ways to do it without driving around and just searching for it like you're looking for a lost puppy is go onto your maps, look for parks, little run parks, little metro parks, Walmarts, shopping malls, and look at the satellite view so you can see what kind of trees are there. Because a lot of the times you'll see the shadowing because those pictures are taken during the day, so you can kind of see what kind of shade these things are allowing. And then you can get an idea whether I can go there, and get some good shade. You can also find the good thing about malls and shopping plazas. Maybe you can get beside a building. The only bad thing about a building is that can obstruct your airflow sometimes, but it can offer you shade. Getting in the shade is significant on these majorly hot days. Extremely significant. So don't underestimate the value of a little bit of shade. Alright, so now you found yourself a place to park that's got shade. You got a half-ass little bit of breeze. You got a little bit of circulating air going on back there. So now you can at least breathe, okay? Now you're hoping you can step your game up and you get some auxiliary power, or you got the ability, which auxiliary power, little battery boxes like a Jackery or something, just a lesser scale of it, a smaller unit that doesn't cost so much. Get something simple like that. Something that'll power that 12 volt fan. I'm going to show you guys something. So this fan right here, turn my power on down here. So this fan, to say, it's a tornado fan, RoadPro tornado fan. I believe I bought this at the truck stop. I don't know if this is one I bought online or not, but they're all similar. This fan here, airflow fans. It's not very big. It is loud. That's one of the things I like about it, is because it kind of drowns out everything else. It's kind of like some white noise to sleep to. But this fan blows quite a bit of air for its little self. And for me, it's the best fan I've found so far for what it does. If anybody has a better suggestion than this one, please comment below. Give me a link, something, because shit, there's a better one. I'm game for a better one. This is just the best one I found. The ones at the truck stops, everywhere else. I've even bought a big fan. I've kept a big fan in here before, and it just doesn't have the velocity of air that this thing has coming out of it. And again, these are like $25. I'll put a link in the description below. Just tap on the link. It'll take you to Amazon and grab yourself one of these. Alright, so the fan, crack the doors in the rear, get your windows open, air circulation, some insulation, block out the windows from the sun coming in. Those are the best ways to keep cool. And I get it. It's still not comfortable. Some of you, just have a very low tolerance for the heat, some for the cold. But the thing is, this is just the way it is, man. Like, not everybody's got a great setup, and my thing is, I'm trying to kind of say this in the right way, because I don't want some people to take offense to this. Like one of my drivers, he's having an issue dealing with the heat, and this isn't meant to try to brag on him or anything like that. I've put a video out before about trying to stay cool. I'm just doing an updated video on it so that people can see this, so it kind of gets put out there. currently. But me personally, am I just different than a normal person? I don't know. But I've been in the middle of summer, Shreveport, Louisiana. Any of you that been to Louisiana in the middle of summer, you know how hot it gets there, hot and muggy. And I was in that bare bones van, and I went right outside in the middle of the day on an extremely hot day, and I slept in there and got my afternoon nap. Now the sleep that you get, it isn't the greatest sleep, but it's sleep. Takes me to the next part. Some of you drivers idle the van, okay? And that leads me to mention, I'm going to do a video talking about drivers for fleet owners and whatnot, and paying for gas. But if you idle the van, whether you own the van, whether you're driving for somebody, that's a lot of gas it costs to do that, and that's a lot of wear and tear on the vehicle. Remember, two of the worst things for a vehicle is extreme heat and extreme colds. Those two things will fuck a vehicle up. So you're sitting there idling in 90 some 100 degrees, and you're generating that heat under there, and you're not getting no airflow into that van. Like some people will pop their hood, that helps a little bit, but these vans are reliant on air being pushed through there, so they're going to be hotter when they're sitting there idling. And secondly, the air conditioning doesn't work as well normally whenever you're not getting that airflow and moving down the road. So you're basically doing all that for naught for the most part. Find you some shade, find you a good breeze, and maybe the air conditioning will work a little bit. Now, like at night, you have the nights that are really hot. What I used to do is at night when I'd be in Laredo or something, I'd run my van. When I first get parked, I still do this to this day. When it's hot, just to help get it set off in here, I blast air, I blast the vents in the direction of the rear cargo area, and it gets it cool back here. I'll run it for about 20 minutes, come back, get my fan turned on, crash out. I may wake up later, kind of hot, sweaty, uncomfortable. I'll start the van, run it for another 20 minutes, get it cool. That way I can get another couple hours of sleep. And then there's sometimes maybe I'm just so worn out because I've ran so hard that it's like, F it, I got to sacrifice this, and I'm going to run the van for about a good solid 4 or 5 hours and get some good sleep. And then obviously the next thing is go get you a room. There are the options of these little ice ACs that you can get ice and put into. I'm seeing those advertised more and more. I've never tried one, but I imagine it does. It's better than not having anything, I imagine. There are portable ACs, which I have not heard good success stories on those. Just another thing real quick. These curtains, these are real thick, like solar curtains. I got them behind the seats, and I got them behind my bunk area. So when I have my AC, and same thing if you bought yourself a ice AC or something, or a portable AC, shrink your area that you're going to cool off, and that's going to make a huge help. So be mindful of that as well. Those little generic curtains you got, yeah, they'll help something, man, or putting a blanket up, something will help. But you want something more insulated, and you want to make sure it's covering as much to the top and the bottom as possible, because you want to, like I said, you want to keep that all in here. You don't want it to, you want as little to escape as can. So there's really not much more to say than that. You know, you just try to move up as best you can. You try to deal with all these things. And, you know, like when I mentioned about Shreveport, I had a buddy with me. And it's funny because we were inside at the casino. We was at a Petro. And I told him, I said, you know, it's getting to be about the time. I'm going to go out and grab a nap for the afternoon in case I get a night run. He's like, well, I'm going to go out and crash out too. We both walked out. He was like a vampire. As soon as he hit that sunlight, oh, he was like, oh, hell no. He doubled back, went right back inside. I went out there and slept. I slept one time at the Flying J in Kansas City in the middle of the summer when I first came out here. Place is a shithole. Didn't trust nothing. I had my window down probably 3 fingers is all I did. About 3 inches. 3 inches down, man. I laid back there and I was sleeping on the floor. The van didn't have an AC even to idle. And I sat back there just drenched. I mean, I was drenched. Now, I've dealt with a lot of extreme temperatures, but at the same time, man, at no point was I ever like, man, F this shit or whatever, you know, or was I like, man, my fucking fleet owner or goddamn this and F that. And dude, I loved what I was doing. I knew that I had a future in this, and all I could see was down the road. I didn't concentrate on how I felt right now. I was concentrating on getting down the road. Like I said, when I started with the fleet owner, the next goal was getting my own van. Once I got my own van, then it was run it how I want to. Then I have the money to get a hotel more often, maybe, or get some of the accessory stuff. You know, until I got to the point that I've got the AC and a generator and all those things, and it's not it's not breaking me to get those now. So, yeah, guys, just understand it's not all easy peasy out here. It's not all simple. It's not all roses. You gotta be willing to put in that work and be uncomfortable, man. I mean, it's kind of weird because a lot of us that have been doing this a while and that really love this industry and this lifestyle, like, it's almost like we are happy with the uncomfortableness, if that makes any sense. And those, to be honest, in my experience, those that are okay with those things are more likely to be successful at this. Those that want or need all these niceties, they're the ones that are usually really struggling. So I don't know who you are. I don't know what type of individual you are. That's up to you. I'm just telling you that if you come out here, it's not all comforts. Unless, again, there are those few that have the means to put themselves set up right off the rip. But if you're somebody like my situation was, no skill as far as, I didn't have a skill to fall back on. I didn't have any good formal education. I dropped out of high school, have a criminal record, all of those things. I just came out here and worked, man, and I liked the lifestyle. I liked being out here. I liked living in a van. Again, I've explained it before to people. It's almost like a child mentality type that's still in my head about being in a van. It's almost like having a little fort or something. When you were a kid, you might have had a little place in the woods that you hung out at, or got yourself a little clubhouse built in a tree, or whatever it may be. Like, that's kind of still how I feel about that. So it's just neat to me. I mean, that's why I try to take pride in how the back of my van looks. I try to deck it out like it's just as comfortable as I can make it out here. It's my little home on wheels and my home away from home. So guys, I know it's rough in the heat and in the cold, but if you want this, you're gonna do it. I promise you. Alright, with that, I'm out.
Your hustle gotta be strong in this industry, as in any other industry.